Hey guys, Wagwan everybody, welcome back to The Walk. I'm your host, Nebek Meister. As you guys can see, it's been a couple of weeks, and during those couple of weeks, as you guys can also see, I've kind of fattened up. Oh my god, the lighting is not focused at all, or maybe it's just my eyes. I've kind of fattened up a little bit, and I'm not saying that to be insulting or rude to myself or beat myself up. There's an actual rhetorical reason behind it. I'm using it to make a point. So, some may be asking, Neb, where the WTF have you been? What's been going on? Is all good? Is all alright? No. To be honest, no. I've been, I swear to God, in the gutters. Shit is not going well. In fact, shit hit the fan. Life is beating my ass. I'm partly to blame. In fact, maybe I'm only blaming myself. But these last few weeks have not been good. Hence why the weight gain. I've been stress eating like a motherfucker. I've been throwing away all the discipline I've done over the last few months out the window. All because life just gets hectic sometimes, you know? And sometimes you're not strong enough to handle that hecticness. Sometimes you're not ready to handle it. Maybe you were never supposed to be as prepared as people expect you to handle it. And that's just how it was, I guess. It's like sometimes the problems that you have seem so minuscule, so trivial that people don't understand the complexity behind it. They just see the weight in comparison to their own problems, which I think is an actual big deal now these days. Everyone just sees things in the weight of their own lives. Say you're struggling with college. There'll be someone who's never went to college talking about, oh, but you don't got bills to worry about. You got it easy. Your life is easy. Not knowing that one test can determine that person's life forever. One exam can determine that person's life forever. You don't know college, you've never been to it, but you know bills, so you know how to flex that struggle. Is it because of an insecurity? Who knows? I'm not trying to go into all that. But a lot of people will see your problems as trivial, as small, as insignificant, because they only think about their problems. And it's funny, because I never do this. No matter how, and the reason why I never do this is because I told myself one thing, and to ensure that I never do this to anybody. And that one thing is simple. Say I see a kid that falls and scrapes his knee. Am I not gonna console that kid? Even though throughout my life I've fallen how many times, scraped my knees so many times, my hand, my palms. One time I fell and scraped my entire face because I was running so fast. Am I gonna sit there and tell that kid, oh, I was younger than you and I was running way faster than you and I scraped my face and it started to bleed? Don't cry about a knee bleed. I would never do that, because I noticed that that's not what the kid needs at that moment. At that moment, he needs support, he needs comfort, he needs love. And I hate how so many people say, nah, fuck all that. He needs to toughen up. He needs to, I'm purposely saying he too, for the rhetorical purposes. He needs to toughen up. He needs to be a man. Why? Because you had to toughen up? You had to be a man? You had to do these things? If anyone relates to what I'm speaking about, if anyone relates to what I'm saying, I have a message for you, but it needs to wait. Anyone who can't relate to what I'm saying or doesn't care about what I'm saying, I do have a message for you now. Live your life the way you've been living. Be bitter, be angry, be hateful forever. Because that's all that you're projecting. Your anger, your hatefulness, and the fact that you had to be toughened up. A lot of this discipline crap that people are talking about is just a lot of shame they had to overcome. Or a lot of shame that they didn't overcome and are basically embodying. If you can't be devoted to what you're disciplining yourself for, then it's not discipline. It's a shame and humiliation ritual. That I can say with confidence. back to what I was saying though. If you did relate to what I was saying earlier about, being emphatic towards a kid who scraped their knee rather than saying, oh, I've scraped my knee, my face, my dick, who cares? If you relate to what I'm saying, my message to you is be yourself. Be who you are. Be what you feel in that moment and express it without shame. Because if you scrape your knee and people are trying to shame you for that rather than confront you for that, or if you have been shamed for that rather than comforted, I will tell you right now, do not react to shame no longer. Be yourself. Be the person you are truly meant to be. Because all this facade, all this bullshit that you're holding up is because of the immense shame you felt. If you scrape your knee, you can cry. No one will take that away from you. If you hurt yourself, you can cry. No one will take that away from you. And let's be honest, if you're done holding up the facade, if you're done holding up this stupid image, you don't have to hold it up anymore. You can be yourself. I've been trying to understand this simple message that I'm preaching for my entire life. Well, let's be honest, for the last 2 years. Because my entire life I've been blind. I've been living my life with this facade, trying my best to protect the facade. The facade does not protect me, does not care about me, and yet I care about it. How odd, isn't it? But now I'm done. I'm gonna just be myself, suffer the consequences of that self. And guess what? If people hate me, people hate me. I think that fear, that shame that a lot of people are carrying is super unhealthy, even if it gets you to a point. And most of the times when people get to that point, all that unhealthiness just turns into pride, egotism, egomanic egotism. Not even dogmatic, because at least I can understand dogmatic egotism. Yo, your belief is what makes you think this way. But no, it's because of all the negative shit that you felt and the fact that you've been bitter about it your entire life. And now that you finally hit the road or the point or the person that you think it was all for, the fact that you shamed yourself, discipline, to get to that point, now it's time for you to be prideful. Now it's time for you to reap the benefits and reciprocate that same pain back to the youth. I'm not gonna live that way. I'm not gonna be that kind of person. I'm gonna take every experience I've had, all negative, and transmute it into something positive so that I can give it back to people in a positive manner. I will never, even if I become somebody who's struggling with bills, I will never see someone who's privileged, more privileged than me, and try to take away that privilege. That's another thing. If you see someone living a life that you wish you lived, why are you trying to take that away from them rather than being happy for them? I should be like, ah, salute, I'm proud of you. But rather, a lot of people think it's okay to see someone living a happier, joyous life than you and be envious of it. Why is it the norm nowadays to be envious, to be bitter, to be hateful, to be anything that's not your inclusive group? People with a victimhood will not empathize with anyone unless they have the same victimhood as they do. And then people with egotism will never empathize with anyone because they never even empathize with themselves unless it's beneficial to their pride. So there's so many of this vanity in our world now, and there's no sense of virtue. I don't see virtue in anything. I don't see a single virtuous thing in what I do in my life. I can say simple. Some people might say, why? You work hard, you go to college, you got your degree, you this, you're that, you're that. Yeah, but my degree is in one of the most greediest degrees ever, computer science. Who I am, in fact, who I was in order to obtain that degree was a greedy person. I treated people like trash. I didn't care because I had the pride, I had the egotism, I had the shame that I was hiding behind discipline to act that way. I didn't care if I treated someone who didn't go to, oh my God, actually, I just got a memory. I treated one of my friends who didn't go to college like trash because I was a computer science major. I was this, I was that, I was la-dee-da. One of my oldest friends, I treated like, one of my most emphatic friends, I treated like absolute garbage back in the, in fact, now we don't even speak, probably because of the way I've acted. Probably the way that I've shown bitterness and he's shown bitterness back to me. Probably because of the way I've sinned against my brother. In fact, I should try to repent. I'm so glad I remember this. I should go back and try to ask for forgiveness. Because how dare I look down on someone because of the things that I feel like are accomplishments? Have I helped anyone in my life? Have I treated anyone with grace? Have I treated anyone with kindness? Have I treated anyone good? No, it's all about me. I made a video, my first ever pilot video about this. And I will constantly say, even though now on pen and paper, I'm garbage, I'd rather be this garbage than ever be that person with the vain egotism that I once had. Because at least now I'm virtuous. Even my virtue, I don't even feel like I have because I don't feel like I've truly earned it. But at least I am attempting to earn that virtue and become the person that I was always meant to be. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be hurtful. I didn't want to be any of these things. But my vain egotism tells me that I should be. My ego tells me in order to get this thing and do these things and be proud of this thing, you must act like this. You must be like this. You must treat people like this. Or better yet, you can treat people like this. You're allowed to be like this because they don't do what you do. They're not as smart as you. They're not as great as you. Okay, take all that away from me. Take all the things that I'm forcing myself to identify with. Take that all away. Who am I? Nothing. I'm trash. I'm garbage. I'm just like everyone else. I'm just like the friend that I look down upon. And yet my entire life, up until 2 years ago, I've been blind to that reality. These last 2 years, I've basically just given up. I've basically given up on the ego. I've basically given up on its stories. The stories that says, oh, be this. I don't even want a job in computer science. I don't even want to study computer science. I don't even want to do what I do. I don't even know why I put myself through all that agony and pain. I'm being honest here. But I do. I really do know the answer. It's vain, egotism, and greed. Vanity, egotism, and greed. When I was a high school kid, I didn't care about shit but making a lot of money and just making a lot of money so I can treat people however I want, because I've seen the powerful people. I've seen how powerful people, what they get away with, what they can do, what they can be. I've seen it my entire life, what people do with power. I wanted that so bad. So I didn't care what I did. I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care who I affected. I just wanted power. I just wanted money, and I just wanted to use money and power for my own benefit. All I cared about was myself 4 years ago, when I was a 17, 18-year-old kid. All I cared about was myself. And it wasn't until the humiliation that God has given me that made me humble. It wasn't until I realized how vain I was, how egotistical I was, how I didn't really care about nothing but myself. It wasn't until it was myself that destroyed myself that I realized I am not even being who I truly am. I am trying to protect this facade, and slowly I've destroyed myself to the point of humiliation. And it's only when I became humble that I realized, what the fuck am I doing with my life? What the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I? Once I started, I've been asking these questions, but I always ignored it because, hey, I'm this computer, I'm this student, I'm this, I want power, I want this, I'm greedy, And I rationalized it in a way that sounds virtuous. I always rationalize my sins as a virtuous thing. But in hindsight, what did I do? Who did I help? Did I help anyone? Did I do anything for anyone? Did I give anything to anyone? Did I even gain anything after all this? Did I get that job I was looking for? Did I become rich? Did I become powerful? No, I'm the weakest I've ever been. I'm the poorest I've ever been. And yet I feel so much more fulfilled now than when I was that egotistical bastard. Why? I don't even know why. But I know because now I'm figuring it out. And I'm genuinely figuring it out. And it's not for the sake of vanity. It's for the sake of virtue. I'm searching virtue. I'm looking for virtue in itself. I'm looking for God in itself. And the more that I do that, the more peace I have in my life. Even though my brain, my anxieties, my depressions are screaming at me not to let go of the things that I am letting go, because of how terrifying it is. And it might be terrifying for you guys too. But let me ask you this. Are you doing it to hold up an image? Or do you truly believe this is who you are? And a lot of you guys probably will be able to answer that in a heartbeat. A lot of you guys will probably be like, yeah, I am trying to hold up an image. No, I do genuinely want to do this. And if you're unable to answer that question, perhaps it should be a heartbeat question. It should be a heartbeat yes or no type of thing. But if by any chance you can't, that's something to meditate on. That's something to wrestle with. That's something to realize. Is this truly who I am, or am I just holding up an image? And there's another thing about that image thing. We are made in an image. We are made in some likeness, or at least I believe that. I'm not going to push that belief onto others. We are made in an image and we are made in a likeness. And if you do realize that, is this the likeness that you are imagining yourself to be? Is this the likeness of your higher self? Is this the likeness of God? Is this the likeness of Allah? Is this the likeness of the Buddha? I guess I should be more inclusive rather than exclusive about my traditional views. But my views is what influenced me to think the way that I think. My views is what influenced me to open my mind about the things that I'm talking about. If you want to share discourse on it, then we can. I think I'm going to be respectful and keep my Christian identity, and I think it's good to call it that for the sake of this video, away from these videos. If people do wish for me to speak upon it some more, I will. But I have another friend who's somewhat spiritual, and she's not a Christian, yet we agree on a lot of the things we're talking about. Now it makes me worrisome about my identity. Am I holding up an image, or is this truly who I'm meant to be, kind of thing? And I truly do wish to see if this Christianity thing is true or not. And that's done by faith. So I am faithful to my faith, but I do have the autonomous nature to understand that there are other ways to see things. And maybe we are all looking at the same image, yet we don't know its name. And because of that, we are confused. I can easily say that she's a good person. She's a kind person. She's a genuine person. And that she says a lot of things that I agree with. But I can't imagine anybody going to hell. I don't know. Now I'm getting sidetracked. This has nothing to do with what I'm actually talking about. But yes, I love you guys. Treat each other with compassion and love. Love one another as you love yourself. Let's use some scripture here, right? And if you want to love Jesus Christ, then love Jesus Christ. That's all I'm going to say. As an Ethiopian, Oriental, Tawado Christian, I can't help myself but say it. I can't help myself but mention Jesus Christ. So if you want to, you can. But I hope you guys tune in. Keep watching these mental health videos. I hope they actually help people. If there's anything you guys wanted me to actually talk about in more detail, let me know. And I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Bye.